Caitlin Clark just turned down a chance to compete for $20,000. The WNBA expanded its three-point contest, added special shots from near the logo, and invited the player who made deep threes, one of the most recognizable sights in women's basketball. Clark still said no. And the most surprising part of this story is not the money she could have won. It is what her absence reveals about Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever, and a WNBA All-Star event that seemed almost perfectly designed for her. The league announced 6 players for its 2026 three-point contest in Chicago. Azzi Fudd, Rhyne Howard, Marina Mabrey, Bridget Carlton, Natisha Hiedeman, and Janelle Salon will compete for the title. It is a legitimate field filled with productive shooters. Mabrey and Howard have competed before. The other 4 will make their first appearances. The winner will receive $20,000, while every participant will receive $10,000. The competition has also been expanded with 2 special deep shot locations. Each successful attempt from those spots will be worth 3 points. In other words, the bubbly WNBA created a three-point contest that rewards exactly the kind of range Caitlin Clark has used to build her reputation. And then Caitlin Clark declined the invitation. That immediately turned the biggest story surrounding the contest into the identity of the player who would not be participating. Because Clark is not simply another good WNBA shooter. Long before she entered the league, she became famous for pulling up from distances that most defenders did not believe were realistic shooting positions. She changed where opponents had to begin guarding her. She forced defenders to meet her several feet behind the normal three-point line. She turned shots from near the logo into moments that could dominate social media before the game had even ended. Those deep shots became part of her identity. They were used in advertisements. They were used in television promotions. They were one of the main reasons casual viewers, who had never followed women's basketball, began stopping to watch her highlights. So when the league introduced special deep shots into the contest, many fans assumed the change had been created with Clark in mind. Whether that was the league's official intention or not, the connection was obvious. A contest with shots from the logo seemed like the perfect stage for Caitlin Clark. But the stage will be there without her. And that is why the decision has produced such a strong reaction. On the surface, turning down an opportunity to win $20,000 sounds strange. Most people hear that number and immediately ask the same question. Why would anyone refuse? But the money is the least important part of this decision. Clark has major endorsement agreements, national advertising campaigns, and a level of commercial attention that very few basketball players ever receive. $20,000 is significant contest money, but it is not enough to determine how she manages her season. She does not need to enter an exhibition because of the prize. She has the freedom to make the decision based on what matters to her body, her team, and the rest of Indiana's season. And that is where the real explanation begins. Clark has dealt with physical issues during her professional career, including another back concern this season. She has also carried one of the most demanding workloads in the league. Every Indiana game becomes a national event. Every opposing team brings extra attention. Every arena is full of people waiting to watch her. Every hard foul, argument with an official, missed shot, and post-game answer becomes a new story. Even an all-star break is not necessarily a break for Caitlin Clark. If she participates in the contest, she has to prepare for it. She has to attend additional events. She has to complete media responsibilities. She has to satisfy sponsors, broadcasters, and fans. Then she has to play in the All-Star game. After that, she has to return immediately to a regular season in which the Fever need her available for every important game. A three-point contest does not involve the same contact as a full WNBA game. There are no defenders. There are no screens. There are no drives into the paint. But it still involves a large number of shots taken at maximum speed under competitive conditions. It still involves preparation and repetition. And when a player has recently managed physical problems, even a relatively low-risk event has to be measured against the benefit of complete rest. That benefit may be far more valuable than $20,000. Clark recently reminded everyone what she can do when she is available and operating at full power. She produced a career-high 45-point performance and added 10 assists in a victory over Seattle. It was a historic combination of scoring and playmaking. But a performance like that can create the wrong impression. fans see 45 points and assume every physical concern has disappeared. They assume a player who can dominate one night must be completely healthy the next morning. Professional athletes know that is not how recovery works. A player can perform brilliantly while still managing soreness, fatigue, or a problem that requires constant treatment. Adrenaline can carry someone through a game. It cannot replace recovery. Clark and the Fever must think beyond one weekend. Indiana is not trying to win an exhibition trophy. The Fever are trying to place themselves in the strongest possible position for the second half of the season and the playoffs. They need Clark creating shots for Kelsey Mitchell. They need her connection with Aaliyah Boston. They need the pressure she places on a defense the moment she crosses half court. They need opponents worrying about her pull-up shot, her passing, and her ability to attack the lane. Most importantly, they need her available. A healthy Caitlin Clark can change the ceiling of the Indiana Fever. A three-point contest victory would produce a memorable Friday night. A healthy playoff run could change the direction of the entire franchise. That is the real choice. Not $20,000 against $0. Not entertainment against boredom. The choice is between adding another responsibility to an already crowded weekend or protecting every possible opportunity for rest. From Indiana's perspective, the correct answer is obvious. The Fever gain very little if Clark wins the contest. They could lose far more if she experiences even a minor setback. And Clark has already shown that she is willing to make this decision regardless of outside expectations. She declined an invitation during her rookie season. She was expected to compete the following year, but had to withdraw because of injury. Now, in her third WNBA season, she has reportedly declined again. That means fans have waited 3 years to see the league's most famous long-range shooter participate in its signature shooting competition. And the wait will continue. That history is important because it creates a second side to the argument. There are fans who believe Clark should compete. Their position is not unreasonable. They believe the biggest stars have a responsibility to participate in the events that help grow their sport. They know All-Star Weekend is designed for entertainment. They understand that people buy tickets and watch television because they want to see the best and most popular players performing outside the structure of a normal game. They also know Clark's appearance could transform the audience for the three-point contest. With her in the field, every rack would become a social media event. Every miss would be analyzed. Every deep shot would be clipped and shared. If she reached the final round, the audience would grow with every attempt. If she won, the footage could be used for years. And if she lost, that result would create just as much discussion. From the league's perspective, almost every possible outcome would be valuable. That is why Clark's absence is such a serious loss for the event. The WNBA will still have talented shooters. Marina Mabrey enters the contest as one of the league's most productive three-point threats. Rhyne Howard has the range and confidence to win. Azzi Fudd has one of the smoothest shooting motions in basketball and brings enormous name recognition. Bridget Carlton, Natisha Hiedeman, and Janelle Salon have earned their positions through their shooting performances. This is not an argument that the selected players are undeserving. The problem is that all-star events are not built only around merit. They are television products. They need recognizable names. They need rivalries. They need stories that casual viewers understand without requiring a detailed explanation. The players in this field can produce an excellent competition, but none of them changes the size of the television audience in the same way Caitlin Clark does. That is the uncomfortable reality for the WNBA. The league wants to build events that benefit from Clark's popularity. Broadcasters want the ratings that follow her. Sponsors want to be connected to her moments. Fans expect to see her whenever the league creates its biggest stage. But Clark is not required to solve every promotional problem for the WNBA. She is a player before she is a television strategy. Her responsibility is first to her body and her team. The league can invite her. Sponsors can encourage her. Fans can ask for her. But the final decision belongs to Clark. This situation also raises a larger question about what All-Star Weekend has become. The event is described as a break in the regular season. For the most popular players, it can become the exact opposite. They arrive and move from one obligation to another. There are practices, rehearsals, sponsor appearances, interviews, community events, photography sessions, and television responsibilities. Then there are the actual competitions and the all-star game. For a role player who is participating in one event, the weekend may feel like a celebration. For someone at Clark's level of fame, it can feel like several workdays compressed into a short period. Declining the three-point contest may be one of the few ways she can recover part of that time. That does not mean the fans are wrong for being disappointed. They have every right to want to see her compete. Clark against Sabrina Ionescu has been one of the most requested shooting matchups in basketball. The idea of Clark standing at the same racks used by the league's best shooters is naturally exciting. Her range creates possibilities that a normal three-point contest does not have. The new deep shot locations make her absence even more noticeable. But disappointment does not automatically mean Clark made the wrong decision. It may simply mean the league created an event whose appeal became too dependent on one player accepting the invitation. And Clark is not the only major name missing. Sabrina Ionescu, the defending champion and owner of the greatest three-point contest performance in WNBA history, will not be in the field. Kayla McBride, the active leader in career three-pointers, will not participate. Kelsey Mitchell is absent, despite being one of the league's most recognizable guards and an elite shooter. Sophie Cunningham is absent, despite her popularity and excellent shooting. Paige Buchers, who has quickly become one of the biggest names in the league, is also not part of the contest. The final field has talent. What it lacks is the collection of stars many viewers expected to see, and that creates pressure on the league. The WNBA cannot force players to participate. It can only make the event attractive enough that they want to join. The increased prize money is part of that attempt. Under the new compensation structure, every participant receives $10,000, and the winner receives $20,000. That is a meaningful improvement. But Clark's decision shows that money alone may not solve the problem. For players with major endorsement income, the prize may not be enough to justify sacrificing rest. For players managing injuries, no reasonable prize can erase the physical calculation. For stars already attending numerous all-star obligations, another event may feel less like an opportunity and more like additional work. If the league wants its most important players to participate consistently, it may need to rethink more than the prize. It may need to announce the field earlier. It may need to reduce other obligations for players who compete. It may need to give stars more control over their schedules. It may need to create matchups that players themselves find exciting. And it may need to ensure the contest feels like a special opportunity rather than another responsibility added to an exhausting season. Clark's refusal also reveals something about her current priorities. She does not appear interested in collecting every possible individual trophy. She does not need to prove that she can shoot from long distance. That proof already exists. Fans have watched her make those shots since college. Opposing coaches design entire defensive systems around preventing them. Defenders begin picking her up near half court because they know she does not need to reach the normal three-point line to become dangerous. Winning the contest would add another achievement to her resume. Losing it would not change what everyone already knows. For Clark, there may be very little basketball value in participating. The main value would belong to the league, the broadcaster, the sponsors, and the audience. That does not mean Clark is being selfish. It means the interests of the player and the interests of the event are not automatically the same. The WNBA wants the largest possible audience. Clark wants to remain healthy and help Indiana win meaningful games. ESPN wants a television attraction. Clark wants to manage a season that places enormous pressure on her every night. Fans want a memorable contest. The Fever want their most important player protected. All of those positions make sense. But only one person has to accept the physical consequences of the decision. That person is Caitlin Clark. There is another comparison that makes this story even more interesting. For years, NBA fans asked LeBron James to participate in the slam dunk contest. He never did. Every season produced new speculation. Fans believed the league's biggest star could restore the event's status. They imagined the ratings, the highlights, and the matchups. But LeBron never entered, and the contest eventually lost some of the cultural importance it once possessed. Clark could become the WNBA version of that story. The league's most famous long-range shooter may complete an entire career without participating in the event created to celebrate long-range shooting. That possibility sounds almost impossible. But after 3 seasons without an appearance, it can no longer be dismissed. The difference is that Clark still has plenty of time. She can compete in a future season when her body feels right, Indiana's schedule is less demanding, and the event fits her priorities. Her decision this year does not have to become a permanent refusal, but the league cannot assume that next year will automatically be different. It has already waited 3 seasons. And every year Clark declines or misses the event, the expectations become larger. If she finally participates, it will become one of the most anticipated contests in FIBA's Mybea history. If she never participates, the three-point contest will always carry a strange missing chapter. The event designed for the league's best shooters never included the shooter who transformed how millions of people watched the game. That is why this story has become bigger than $20,000. Clark did not simply reject prize money. She demonstrated the limits of the Caitlin Clark effect. Her presence can increase ratings. It can sell tickets. It can attract sponsors. It can turn a normal game into national news. But the league does not control that presence. It cannot automatically place her at the center of every promotional event. It cannot assume that creating shots from the logo will guarantee the appearance of the player most associated with those shots. And it cannot build an entire weekend around the expectation that Clark will always say yes. The most powerful part of her decision is that she did not need to make a dramatic statement. She did not criticize the league. She did not publicly complain about the prize. She did not attack the contest or the players who accepted their invitations. She simply declined. That one decision changed the entire conversation. Instead of asking who will win, many fans are asking why Clark is not competing. Instead of focusing only on the 6-player field, the discussion has focused on the absent star. Instead of promoting the new deep shots, people are pointing out that the player most qualified to take them will not be there. Even when Caitlin Clark removes herself from an event, she remains the largest story connected to it. That may be the clearest evidence of her influence. The league's contest will still happen. One of 6 talented shooters will win $20,000. There may be a dramatic final round. Someone may produce a performance that changes the entire conversation. The event deserves to be judged on what the participants actually deliver. But Clark's decision has already created the defining question surrounding the weekend. Should the WNBA's biggest star prioritize the growth and entertainment value of the league's signature shooting event? Or should she protect her body, recover during the break, and concentrate on helping Indiana win? For Caitlin Clark, the answer appears clear. The contest offered money, attention, and another possible trophy. Clark chose time, recovery, and the fever. And regardless of whether fans agree with that choice, it proves one thing. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark in its three-point contest far more than Caitlin Clark needs $20,000 from the WNBA.